Well, hello, Band in the Box users. My name is Henry Clark, and I am a Band in the Box user. I use a lot of other stuff too, but I also use Band in the Box. And a couple of weeks ago, I put a song out, For the Love of You. I had actually done it before, and people wanted to know that it was well received, and people wanted to know how I actually put the song together. So I did a tutorial on how I put the song together, right? And people wanted more. They wanted more, right? So I did a song last weekend that I wrote. It was called Lonely in a Crowd. And a lot of people really, really liked that song. And I had a feature in there where I used a chop in my arrangement. Some people call it a chop, some people call it a shot. Some people even ask me, what's a chop, right? And a chop is when you get that dead, 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 that type of sound, right? And I wanted that. So, by the way, all the instruments, everything was done in Band in a Box, right? Now, I do sing in my DAW. And like I said, I do that because I get latency when I sing in my PC, and I don't like that. So I sing in my DAW, and plus I can tune my voice a little bit better in my DAW. But all of the music was done in Band in a Box. The files were dragged over to my DAW. I used Sonar, and I put the song together. Where people were wondering, how did I put the song? How did I arrange the song? Totally from within Band in a Box. And this tutorial talks about how I arranged the song totally within Band in a Box. So the song went like this. I'm going to bring it up for you, right? Play a little bit of it. And you can actually hear how I arranged the song. So the song is going through, right? And you get this, that the background vocals came in, right? Because I'm using background vocals from Band in a Box. This is not my vocals from Band in a Box. And like I said, I wanted that chop sound. And it comes up right here. I wanted this, I wanted that. I call it a chop, some people call it a shot. I still hear the sound. So anyway, so that's how I put the song together, right? I had chops in it. I had different vocal oohs. I had vocal ahs in the song. So again, I'm gonna take you through how I actually put that song together. And again, this was totally done from within some of the features and functions within Band in a Box itself. I didn't use anything else in putting the music together. Like I said, I sung in my DAW, but everything else was done in Band in a Box. So here we go. So the first thing we want to do is, I had a storyboard. There's so much stuff going on. So I had to bring up a clean slate. So we're going to bring up a clean slate, right? And let me see, blank slate here. So we got a blank slate here, right? Now, one of the things I did do is that you guys want to see me typing a bunch of chords, but these are the same chords that I used when I put the song together. Exactly the same, except for none of the features and functions, right? So again, no adjustments, right? So this is how it sounds with no adjustments whatsoever. And you can hear the difference, right? So it's generating sound. Again, no, everything is there, right? All the oohs, all the ahs, all the strings, everything is there. And my chop is not going to be my chops missing. See the chops missing, right? Now I set the song up to start singing, right? Well, again, too much going on. I don't want all that stuff going on because remember, arrangements are built on kind of like dynamics where you drop, certain pieces in, you drop them out, bring them in, drop them out, bring them in. Gives it a different dynamic. And also, again, my chops are not there, right? So we got to get those chops in there. We have got to get those chops in there. So the first thing I did was I wanted to mute the vocals in the beginning, starting from track 1, right? Because I had to storyboard this out, right? So how did I mute those vocals starting at track 1, right? So I went to bar 1, did a right click, did a bar settings, and it should come up in a second in my window. And I took and I muted the vocals. So I just did a mute the vocals, right? And I muted all the vocals starting in bar 1. So just mute the vocals out, right? And here's the difference again. Regenerate, and you can hear them now without any vocals in that intro. Didn't want them in that intro. See, no vocals there, which is what I really, really wanted, right? It kind of set the song up. It sets it up, And get my vocals now, right? I wanted them to come in at that point. I didn't want them to come in before then. That sets it up, right? And again, I don't have my chops in yet, or my shots. Some people call them shots. I don't have my chops and my shots in yet. See, that's kind of boring, right? Everything is still playing. Nah, too boring, too boring. It's not boring, but there are no dynamics there, right? So again, I went to bar 3, and I unmuted, unmuted the ooze. So I went to bar 3. Yeah, we can bring that up. That's coming up in a second. And I unmuted the ooze. So the ooze went back to normal, but the ahs were still muted, right? So again, when we got to bar 3, and that's my ooze in there, right? So now I got my ooze going. So I got some strings going, got my ooze going, got everything else going, right? So check it out. See? And again, no shots, no shots. Ah, boring, you know, boring. Okay, this section is about bars. Okay, so I've got my arrangement set right, and now I want to set it up again. I still have no slaps, still have no shots, right? But I wanted the song to play, and I wanted some instruments to drop out. I wanted something to drop out when the melody started, when I started singing, right? I didn't want, I didn't want guitar, I didn't want strings, I didn't want it crowded. I wanted to give it time. I wanted to give it space for my voice is what I wanted, right? So again, if you listen to it beforehand, and again, if you listen to it without that, right? So I've got these things going on, and you'll see. I will just go from here. So now I would start singing here. I still hear the sound of the music playing. However, again, it's not dynamic enough. So I wanted to take some of those things out. So at bar 7, what I did was I went into my chord settings, and I said, I want the rest, all instruments except for drums, piano, all instruments except for drums, piano, and bass. That's what I wanted. So now, again, I'm creating dynamics is what I'm doing within the program, just creating dynamics. So now as I go through the program, and you can hear the difference, right? So I'm going through the program, right? This is the intro stuff. So now it's setting me up to sing. There we go. See, everything's dropped out. Hear the sound of the music playing, and the shadow from down the hall. You know, the guys will hear me sing the song again. But just so you notice that I had those sounds drop out. I had the strings drop out. I had the guitar drop out. I didn't want them at that point. And notice how it turned red. Notice how it turned red, right? So you've got red here now. So that's what I did about, oh, and like I said, and then I made sure that the piano only played a simple, notice I'm forcing the piano to play a simple arrangement. Don't want a lot of trills, don't want a lot of fills, just a nice simple arrangement is what I'm after, which is what I got on this one, right? Now, if you go to the top again, I did that, right? Now, usually also another thing I do a lot is when I get something I like, I will freeze the track. If you notice something here, right, I've got freeze, it's not frozen, right? When I got something I like, I will freeze the track, right? And when you freeze it, what happens is that when you regenerate, sometimes when you regenerate, the pattern changes, right? But if I got a pattern I like, I will go ahead on and freeze the track. So that's what I do. So anyway, so everything is still muted, right? Now notice that the strings are also still muted at this point. So no strings whatsoever. Just straight, right? Now, when I got to bar 15, I wanted to bring back all of the instruments that are still muted. So note that the backgrounds are still muted, but everything else is coming. I'm bringing everything else back in, right? So I'm bringing the chords in. So now when I go to bar 15, right, no rest. I want all of my instruments back in at bar 15. That's what I want. And also, another thing is that I want my ooze to come in. Is it ooze or no, I'm gonna keep the backgrounds muted, right? So the backgrounds are still muted at this point in time, right? But yeah, bar 15, I want to unmute the ooze is what I want to do. So I'm gonna go to bar settings. So I go to bar settings. So that when my bar setting window comes up, and I want to unmute the ooze, just the ooze on. I want the ooze to go back to normal because they're not playing now, right? So again, as I go through here, right? So now everything, I've only got bass, drums, and piano up to this point. All through here, only bass, drums, and piano are playing at this point. So now when I play this, and I need to regenerate. Yeah. Oh, I should always regenerate. I just make a habit of regenerating, right? But again, so now, and we can skip a little bit, right? Notice now now my harmonies are back in because I wanted to bring the harmonies in at that point, right? But what I didn't do is when I said I wanted the melody part, the first melody part, I wanted that muted, right? So that I only wanted those instruments in. I also have to do it on the corresponding bar. So now when I go to bar 9, I need to also do no rest except, so I need to do rest, I'm sorry, rest only except drums, piano, and bass. Those are the things that I wanted there. And again, and that's going to stay throughout here, right? Then when I get to here, I'm going to bring in the guitar and the strings. So now when I go to bar settings, chord settings first, and I'm going to do rest only, all except drums, bass, piano. I'm going to do that there. Here, same thing. I'm going to do, I want to rest everything. I don't want the strings in yet. It's what I really want. So I'm going to rest only except guitar, drums, piano, and bass. I'm going to do it again here. Sounds like a lot of work, but it's really not. It just seems like it at first, especially if you're not sure of what you want to do, right? But it's really, fairly simple. I'm going to do that. And notice what we have here. Notice if you look at here, you've got B, D, P, G, which stands for bass, drums, piano, and guitar. And again, same thing here. I'm going to go to this chord here, and I am going to only rest strings because I didn't want any strings here. So now as we move through the song, I'm going to regenerate again. And you notice you can hit a guitar now. Now the strings come back in. See, now my strings are here and my background vocals are here. I love that, right? That's exactly what I wanted. This is my first change. So this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted those in that part right there. So again, so right now what we have, we've got a different pattern going on. We started with just no vocals, no oohs, no ahs, right? We set the song up. We went and we dropped out some instruments to give us some dynamics. And we brought our strings back in and we brought our oohs back in. And bar 15 is what we did. But again, notice the ahs. There are no ahs that ahs are still muted, right? And the reason why is because they're not necessary at this time. I don't bring the oohs, I don't bring the ahs in until bar 23. So at bar 23, what I do is I mute the oohs and bring in the ahs. Ooh, right? So when I go now at bar 23, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the oohs and I'm going to bring in the ahs. So mute, and I'm going to bring the ahs back to normal. So now the ahs are going to come in, right? So we've got our oohs going on, and now we're bringing in our ahs, and we still got our strings going, which is really cool. So if you notice, when we get through here, I don't want to start all the way from the beginning. We still got our oohs playing. Oohs still playing. And we still don't have our shots, and I'll show you that in a second, right? So that's going on now. So now watch, we're going to go to ahs. Huh? See, so now we got our ahs going there, right? Which is really, really cool. So now we got our ahs and everything, which again, we're really building this arrangement up is what we're doing, right? We're adding some dynamics that weren't there before is what we're doing. So we got our ahs in. Now at bar 35, when I went all the way down to bar 35, right? You could just cut and paste if you want to do it. I'm not going to take it and waste your guys' time. You can actually cut and paste, so you can put the oohs and the ahs in any pattern that you like. I don't need to do that, right? I just showed you how to do oohs and ahs, how to bring them in and out, which is fine, right? Now, okay, here we go. Now for the shots, right? So again, we got our arrangement going. There's our intro. Just strings, no oohs, no ahs, just strings, right? Notice we have a little drum roll there, right? All this is beginning. We just kind of float to the beginning here. And this part is where I would have my shots coming up. But right now they're just smooth, right? And then we drop in and start the song. Strings gone, guitar's gone, no oohs, no ahs is what we've done here, right? So now, we got to put some shots in here because, again, I want to set this thing up, right? So what we need to do is at bar 7, we need to make sure that we allow a drum fill. Now, we got a drum fill before this part mark because I want the drum to tat, 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 tat. You know, I want that, right? But in order to do the shots, to set the shots up, right, I need to go at bar 6. So I'm at bar 6. chord 1. So on bar 6, chord 1, what I want to do is I want to put a shot in there. So I'm going to put a shot at bar 6, chord 1, beat 1. I want a shot there, and I want all of the instruments to do a shot on bar 1. I want on bar beat 2, I want a shot on beat 3. I want a shot. And on beat 4, what I want on beat 4 is I only want the drums playing. So on beat 4, I want a shot. Actually, I don't want a shot. I want all of the instruments to rest on bar 4. That's what I want, just a total rest, all the instruments to rest on bar 4. So again, so there's no, except for the drums. I don't want the drums to rest. So I want everything except for the drums to rest on bar 4. So, and I need to do this again. So now I've done this throughout. So again, so I've got my chord settings. Again, I'm doing shots, beat 1. I don't think I saved it. A shot on bar 1. All the instruments on beat 2. I'm putting a shot on beat 2. I'm putting a shot on beat 3. And on beat 4. Sorry about that. Putting a shot on beat 3. On beat 4, I'm putting a shot on beat 4, but I'm doing all except for the drums. And if you notice, look at how they changed. You see how they changed here? This is exactly what we're looking for. So now, when we go through, and you will see that in a second. Here we go. Backgrounds in, our strings are there, and everything playing along, setting the song up really nice, right? I'm at the microphone, I'm clearing my throat. All right, here we go. Roll, and I'm in the song. Hear the sound of the children playing. And that's what we're doing. See, so check that out. So that's really, really cool how you can do that. So again, I had shots on the first 3, right? So after the chops, what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a sustain. So when it gets down in the second part, I need to go and put some chops. I'm going to put some chops in here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So again, what I want is on beat 1, right? I wanted a shot with all of the instruments. On beat 2, I wanted a shot. On beat 3, I wanted a shot. And on beat 4, I wanted a shot except for the drums. So that's what I wanted on beat 4. Now we've got our chops in, right? So we set up our chops and everything, right? So now the only thing I wanted to do is that when these chops go through, and if you notice the chops are going through, right? The chops come up right here, right? It sets up my hook. So again, I got my little thing going, right? But I wanted some dynamics before I go into the second verse, right? So again, so I got that going, right? And right in this part here, which is okay. And now again, so notice that bar 27, which is the beginning of the second verse, I've got my strings there, which is what I wanted. I wanted my strings there. So again, very simple. What I did was I just did some dynamics, dropped in some instruments, dropped out some instruments, did some nice chords, did that shot thing. But again, you always remember that what you want is you always want to fill. Just make sure that your drum pattern is set to allow a drum fill before the part mark. If you do that, you'll get some type of dynamic. So I hope this helps. And again, just so you know, basically what I'm going to do is just show you guys again. These are the shots. And like I said, shots are dan, 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 dan. I love that because it gives the song dynamics and what it does. So we've got our intro, no vocals whatsoever, no oohs, no ahs, just straight vocals is what we have, Now I bring my vocals in. How did I do that? I just made some changes right to the bar. just to make sure that I can bring the vocals in and just have them running through, right? I got my shots right here, coming up right here. Now, drop everything out. Boom. Just piano, bass, and drums, which is the first verse. That's the first verse. Of the children playing, and they're shouting from down the hall. I can hear what they're saying. Bring my guitar in. I still say hello. Guitar still when the telephone rings. Still guitar. I still clean my house and put away all my things. Now bring my strings and my O's in. All my friends, they say. Notice I bring, again, all dynamics, right? So I had just bass and piano for the first part of the verse. At the bridge, right? I've got my strings in, I've got my background vocals in, which is really, really cool, you know. And those are the background vocals that are oohs, right? Not the ahs yet, just the oohs, right? So I got my oohs coming through, you know, right through here. We are just having fun, right? We are just so lonely. And those are my ahs there, right? Boom. Guess what? If you know, that's how you get those dynamics there, right? You know, just second verse starting again. No ahs, no oohs, but I wanted to put the strings in this, which is what I did through here. So I've got strings going on. So basically, that's how I put the song together, right? You can go back, you can actually you can copy bars. I'm not a big fan of copying bars, but you can copy bars if you want to do that. You know, but that just gives you an idea how to put shots in, right? So it's amazing what you can do through the program, right? Where you can, if you can make adjustments at different bars, at different chords. There's a lot of functionality in here. And again, I'm only still scratching the surface of what this thing will do. You know, I know a lot of guys want to put backing tracks together and play live against them, right? I try to do a complete production within the program itself. So anyway, hope this helps. Again, this was really about how to put shots or chops. I call them chops, but some people call them, the program calls them shots. But that's, someone asked me about that. Like I said, I want to put together a video. And again, to show you how you can also add dynamics to a song by bringing in instruments, by dropping out instruments at the right bars, right? We brought strings in, we dropped strings out, we brought background vocals in, we dropped background vocals out. So again, hope this helps. And again, you can always subscribe to my channel because I always like to get as many subscribers as I can. My name is Henry Clark. And again, I am a Band in the Box user. Now, I do use other products too. So if you go to my channel, you will hear some music that's done with just straight samples. But Band in the Box is also a great tool. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I will see you guys around. See you. Bye.